country. Staying in Mpumalanga, the African People's Convention, led by Themba Godi, has contested 73 municipalities, including 7 metros in all 9 provinces in this year's local government elections. The party had 15 councillors in 13 municipalities from 6 provinces after the 2016 elections. The party leader, Themba Godi, joins me now to discuss their performance in the current elections. Mr. Godi, good evening and thanks for joining us on the program this evening.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, in the 2016 local government elections, your party, the African People's Convention, had 15 councillors in 13 municipalities from about 6 provinces. Talk us through your assessment during the current elections and how would you describe your performance?
Well, you'd note that in 2019 we lost our parliamentary seat, with which went away our source of funding. And we depended on the 15 councillors to keep the party afloat. And that is what made us to be a bit cautious in terms of how far we can stretch ourselves, and settled on the 73 municipalities. Now, our objective was to have a minimum of 50 councillors, that is increased from 15 to 50 out of these municipalities that were contesting. The second element was we identified wards in most of these municipalities that we should be contesting to win. That is the first part. And on that score, we did not win any of the wards that we had set for ourselves, which was a very huge setback. And we now have to await the allocation of PR seats, which is going at a snail's pace. And to the extent that we did not win wards, whatever PR seats we're going to get will be a consolation. Otherwise, at a qualitative level, we would have loved to have won wards. We had identified them and we had campaigned in them. I had visited those municipalities where we had those wards. And up until the special votes, we were very certain about some of them that we're indeed going to win them.
Right. Now, there are targets that you had set for your party in this year's elections to also improve to a minimum of 50 councillors with a number of competitive wards. Explain to us your campaign prior to these elections. Well,
look, I wouldn't decry the COVID restrictions. They affected all political parties. As the APC, we registered the 73 municipalities, wherein 9 of them are district municipalities. So it was actually 64 locals. That's where we could physically campaign.
Right.
We urged our comrades to say, look, elections are about numbers. So let's work on the numbers for each municipality. We studied the seat allocations of the IEC in 2016 in all municipalities. And we have a fair understanding of how this works. So we're focusing on the numbers to say, well, how many councillors do you need? These are the numbers that you need. Now, the lack of resources, I think, in a large way impacted on the ability of our comrades to achieve those numbers. Otherwise, the people to do the work are there, their commitment was there, but they lacked the tools and the means by which to do their work.
And still speaking about your campaign, there was also this strong emphasis on dealing or improving service delivery in the areas that you were contesting. Please expand on this for us.
Yeah, that's true. Look, and I think whatever the outcome, it can never be that people reject the message of the APC, because we believe that it spoke directly to the cries that our people have, which is our election campaign was themed on service delivery and good governance.
Right.
That the primary responsibility of local government is to deliver services. But you can't deliver services where there is no good governance. I mean, you were talking about some municipalities in Mpumalanga and the governance issues that are there. So clearly there you wouldn't. But most importantly, and this is a message we're going to continue carrying forward, was that the budget of the municipality must reach the people. And how does it do that? We want a ward-based budgeting system wherein each ward knows in a year this is the amount allocated to it, and it can therefore decide on its developmental priorities. as such, you're not going to have people blocking roads because they want services that they don't know when they're going to come.
Well, it sounds to me like you have had a lot of time to basically reflect on the performance during this local government elections. What are some of the lessons that you'd say you've picked up or drawn from this experience while contesting the more recent poll?
Well, let me just say this so that it is not lost. You know, you indicated that with 15 councillors, I can safely say right now that so far 5 councillors have been confirmed to the APC. And in terms of my calculations in the recent, checking, I have 13 municipalities where I'm dead sure we're going to have councillors, but I have an additional 11 municipalities where I'm cautiously optimistic that will probably get councillors. Now, in terms of the reflection, I think when it comes to campaigning, we have done our job. I'm happy about that. I think our ability to manage the election day, to manage this pity that happens on election day, I think that is the one area of weakness, because the shenanigans that happen on election day are such that it's almost like it is becoming a norm that they should be cheating. And it's like it's nothing. Everybody focuses on the numbers, like you were giving out the numbers, such and such a party has so many numbers. But how did they get those numbers? So I think our ability to manage that is actually what cost us votes and wards, which we would want to reflect on and work on and say, how do we ensure that on election day we have the capacity to manage that situation, ensure that we don't have the kind of things that have been on social media, like even here in Bushbuck Ridge, where the whole ballot papers of 16 were in refuse bags and in a kumbi right at the regional office of the IEC. People were busy voting, just like that. How do we manage that kind of situation so that you don't have a situation where, like today, the road from Hazelview to Kruger National Park was blockaded by people who were toiling for services, but they've just voted, and the ANC has heroically won that ward, but people are toiling today. So is there a disconnect between the victory that people achieve and the actual connection with the people? So I think that is the part that we would want to deal with, and I believe we'll make amends and make improvements come 2024.
Well, Mr. Godi, thank you very much for your time. That was the African People's Convention's party leader, that's Themba Godi, also reflecting on that concerning story where ballots were found apparently in a taxi. But of course, police have been asked to investigate those claims.